We are live on Facebook. Good afternoon, everyone. Michael Bailey here with Paddy Davitt. How you doing, Paddy? Right?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. So
yes, good. Thank you. We've been taking in Colney ahead of Norwich's visit from Barnsley at Carrow Road on Saturday. Just Alan Irvine, who of course is interim caretaker manager, whatever, in place of Alec Neil. I mean, how long has this week felt, Pad? Although you've had a bit of R&R this one.
Let's go.
Was it that bad on Friday?
It's gone pretty quick for me. No, it was all pre-booked. But yeah, I feel I'm totally out of the loop. So you're going to have to fill me in what's happened in the last 3 days. But
not a lot.
Not a lot, no. Fair enough. But he's a very impressive character. That's 2 press conferences I've been in with Alan Irvine and I've spoken to him sort of in a non-press conference setting. And every time you speak to him, you think, he talks a lot of common sense. Just a very measured man, very experienced man. So I think steady hand on the tiller is how I'd describe it at the minute.
Yeah, you can tell he's done the job before, can't you? That's what I think. And there's a sort of a glint in his eye that the bits he enjoyed of being a manager have sort of come back this week, while he hasn't had to deal with the bits he didn't like yet. And I guess that only changes if he gets asked to take the team beyond this Saturday, which as far as he knows, basically it's this Saturday and then he's back to his first team coaching role, assuming he's still at the club. Do you find it surprising that at this point they don't know who's even going to be taking training next week?
Not in the sense that after Saturday it's a 2-week break, isn't it, with the international break? I mean, if they had another game a week Saturday or a week Friday or whatever, then yes, that would be very surprising that there's this kind of lack of clarity to the process. But I think the fact is they'll get Barnsley out of the way and then there'll be a 2-week shutdown. So in the sense of the fixtures and preparing for a fixture. So no, that doesn't surprise me at all. A little bit surprised that I pushed him on that a bit further, and he said he hadn't spoken to the board since this time, more or less last Friday, when he was told to take it originally for 2 games. I thought he might have, A, what's happening in the immediate term, B, you think that maybe consult him because he's vastly experienced inside the game, and he's one of the few you would feel with the football knowledge currently at the football club. So I found out a little bit strange that he hasn't been consulted, whether it's for a leading role for himself or more generally the process. Even though he's pushed on this model of director of football / sporting director, and I thought he hit the nail on the head. It's about that whoever, if that's the route they go, and whoever they go with as a head coach / manager, the chemistry has to be right between those two. There's no point in basically coming out with a process, announcing a structure, then appointing a manager who isn't going to buy into that and doesn't want to more or less share power. So he feels it's the right way to go in terms of get the structure right, then make the appointment on the managerial front. But even if once they've done that, the chemistry has to be right, because if it doesn't, then the model will fail. End of.
Yeah, I would agree with that in terms of the that they hadn't even spoken to Alan Irvine. As we said, he's got a lot of experience in the game. He's been it and done it in numerous different roles. And we didn't ask him whether he was disappointed, because he probably is just doing the job he needs to. But we're disappointed, aren't we? We find it disappointing, or just a missed opportunity, or I mean, I guess they've got a lot on, haven't they, the board, in trying to figure out what they want to do and who they want, I suppose.
Well,
but
ultimately we're not party to what conversations are taking place. I mean, ultimately, if he's happy with that state of affairs, then me personally, then we'll go along with it. But I'm sure he wants clarity as well. As he reiterated again, he's not going to apply for the job, but if the job was offered to him, as he rightly said, he's never applied for a job in his life. So I don't think anybody needs to run away with the idea that he's not interested in the job. Clearly, I think he would give it serious consideration if it was offered to him in terms of permanently, but that will clearly hinge on A, how successful the club's overall search is, and B, what's happening on the pitch, starting with Saturday. So, yeah, I think it's very much a case of get tomorrow out of the way, and then you would like to think very swiftly after that we'll start to see some clarity to the whole thing.
Indeed, which maybe we'll get some slight more clarity before kick-off. We'll have to see how things pan out. Obviously, the club said that there'll be an announcement this week. Not much of this week remaining. Just in terms of the game, Barnsley done fantastically well. Paul Heckingbottom's done a brilliant job. I'm sure that hasn't been lost on a lot of Norwich fans. Former Norwich City player, of course, for a brief bit. Good positive news, though, on Norwich's injury front, which we seem to have been waiting for a long time. Graham Dorrans and Nelson Oliveira.
And Closer back in the squad as well, or whether that's good news or not, I don't know. Dependent.
He did open up on that, didn't he? On
his performance,
on Tim's quotes.
Well, I mean, that was me. I put that to him, and because for me it's disrespectful for Closer or his agent or somebody close to him to come out and effectively just send a signal to interested parties that he's basically having to consider his future, which I read between the lines he doesn't want to be here. Ultimately, that's what it boils down to. Now he might say in his defence it might have been intimated to him that his future isn't going to be here, and then he needs to obviously look after himself. But I find the timing very strange indeed. Almost indecent haste from Neil's departure. So read into that what you will, but put it to Alan Irvine, and clearly I think he was maybe briefed just before he walked in this afternoon. Said he was aware of the comments, felt the timing was wrong. I'd agree completely with that. And also said it's a bit premature because ultimately a new man might come in and very much be in a Tim Closer supporters camp, and then all bets are off. But ultimately he's under contract, he's a Norwich player, he's now free of whatever back complaint he had, and he's in the squad tomorrow, so we'll see. But moving it on, Oliveira is very good news to be this ahead of what we felt was probably going to be maybe still another week from this point in his recovery. I put it to Alan Irvine, we're about to watch a 23s game get underway with Fulham, and whether that would be an opportunity for him and Dorrans to give him a little run out, because more so in Dorrans' case, he's been away from the first team for a long while. But Alan Irvine said no, they feel they're both now able to be brought back into the first team fold. So if we get the Oliveira who was firing before his injury, then as good as Jerome has been, you can't have too many options at the top end of the pitch. And it's interesting to bring it right round to what you said about Heckingbottom. I've seen some quotes from him about doesn't feel Norwich are completely dead and buried in the playoffs because they've got firepower at the top end of the pitch. Well, certainly if Oliveira is fit, then you would say that is the case. Yeah,
it's been a huge miss, no doubt about that. There are a few illness concerns rather than injury concerns. We didn't have names to do, but there's a couple of things he needs to get confirmed. So he hasn't been able to name his team yet, as he was hoping. So we'll see, I guess, who makes it, who doesn't make it, and who's got a thermometer coming out their mouth because they've got a bit of a temperature or whatever. See how it pans out. Good image. Anyway, should we move on to the game? I think we'll be doing all the usual stuff at pinken.com, so you can follow all the live coverage there and all the fallout, obviously, afterwards, and all the build-up will be there once you get transcribing all these quotes. Hopefully they won't be redundant this time.
You'd like to think so, yeah. Although let's not rule anything in or out. No. I mean, it's only, what time is it now? 3 o'clock?
Yeah, not 2, mate. 5 to 2.
Plenty of time, yeah.
There's another hour. So thanks all. Thanks. Well, hopefully in future we'll get a bit more interactive with these, so we'll see. But you know where we are roughly when we do these things. So until then, until tomorrow, fingers crossed, enjoy the game. Cheers, Pad.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Bye.